If you ever want to know the true meaning of prayer, ask a man who is owing school fees. That was me. Every Monday morning was like Judgment Day. My children would dress up neatly for school, only to come back before noon with long faces. Daddy, they say we should stay at home until you bring the balance. Try. Nothing breaks a father more than that. At night, my wife and I would kneel down together in the sitting room of our small flat, the ceiling fan squeaking like it was mocking us. But we prayed anyway. Lord, open a door, just one door. Let one contract enter. Let our story change. But in the daytime, life was not so holy. My colleagues at the office always had one thing to say: Oga government contract, how market, na so proposal, you dey carry up and down. If na food, you for don open restaurant. They laughed and it stung. The only one who didn't join in the laughter was Tony. He would pat me on my shoulder, shake his head at others, and say, "Don't mind them. One day it will click. Just keep pushing, my brother. God day." Sometimes he even bought me lunch when I couldn't afford it. "Don't worry, you'll pay me back when you cash out," he would joke. That small kindness meant the world to me. To me, Tony was more than a colleague. He was a friend. At home, things weren't easier. My wife was a strong woman, but I could see the cracks. She managed the little I brought back, but there were days when pepper soup turned to just pepper water. Still, she encouraged me. "Don't give up," she would whisper at night. "You're a good man. Your time will come." And in my heart, I believed it. It happened on a Thursday morning, just when I had given up hope. I was at my desk in the office, staring blankly at the old proposals I had submitted months ago when my phone buzzed. The number was unfamiliar. "Hello," I answered, half expecting it to be another loan reminder. A calm voice on the other end said, "Good morning, sir. This is the Ministry of Works. We are calling about the project proposal you submitted. The director has approved it. You are to come for documentation tomorrow." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. I wiped my ears as if the line was lying to me. "Please, sorry, can you repeat what you said?" The man chuckled. "Congratulations, sir. You've been awarded the contract." I dropped the phone and shouted so loud the whole office turned. Papers flew from my desk. Chairs screeched as people looked away. "What happened?" Tony rushed to me, eyes wide. "My brother," I grabbed him in shock, like a man possessed. "The contract, they approved it. After all these years, they finally approved it." The entire office went silent. Some clapped politely, others hissed under their breath. I could see envy spread across their faces like palm oil in hot water. But Tony, he hugged me tightly, patting my back. "I told you," he said, grinning from ear to ear. "Didn't I tell you your time will come? See as God just shamed your enemies." That night, my wife cried when I told her, not tears of sorrow, but of relief. She held my hand so tightly, her shoulders shaking. Our prayers worked. God has done it. The children danced around the room chanting, "Daddy got contract, Daddy got contract." The landlord stress, the endless school fees embarrassment, the late night prayers, all of it felt like it had led to this single moment. From then, life changed. School fees were paid in full and in advance. My wife's market list grew longer, and for once, I didn't complain. Clothes that had hung on us like sacks were replaced with fitting ones. The children walked into school proudly, no longer chased out like beggars. And the biggest step of all, we decided to buy a house. It wasn't an easy decision, but I knew renting forever was not our option. My wife and I searched, argued, prayed again, and finally settled on a house in a new estate. The kind of estate we used to pass by and say, "One day." Now it was our day. On the day we signed the papers, I remember standing in front of the gate with my wife by my side. The paint smelled fresh. The compound was wide enough for children to play without breaking neighbors' windows. "This is it," I whispered, "our new beginning." My wife nodded, eyes glistening. From struggle to testimony, let the world see what God has done. And of course, There is a testimony. There must be celebration. My wife insisted on a housewarming. If we don't do it, they will say it's audio story. Let them come, eat and see. I agreed. After all, wasn't this the victory we had prayed for? The day of the housewarming was like a village festival. My wife started preparing 2 days earlier. Coolers of rice, pepper soup steaming, drinks stacked like election bribes. The children ran around the compound, dragging balloons and shouting, "Welcome to our house." Neighbors came, colleagues too. Some wore their best lace, some came with empty bellies and eyes full of calculations. In Nigeria, you don't need to print invitation. The aroma of jollof is enough to announce a party. I stood at the gate, greeting people, trying to smile at everyone. But my wife, sharp as always, leaned close and whispered, "See that one? See his face. If jealousy were malaria, he would be on drip." I laughed, shaking my head. "Leave them. Today is Joy Day." Even Tony showed up, carrying a bottle of wine. He hugged me so tightly, you would think he built the house with me. "My brother," he exclaimed, "see what God has done for us. Chai, this house fine. This is the kind of place where even the gateman will be forming English." We laughed and I believed him. Tony had always been there. Why shouldn't I? The music was loud, plates clattering. Children chased each other until one fell and cried, only to be bribed with meat to stop the tears. Women compared rappers. Men compared who could shout DJ, turn it up the loudest. It was chaos, but beautiful chaos. Then he arrived. A sleek car pulled into the compound, its body shining like new money. Heads turned. Even the DJ reduced the volume as if the car itself demanded respect. The man who stepped out was tall, well dressed, carrying himself with the ease of someone who never argued with market women over change. He smiled broadly, walking straight to me with his hand extended. "Congratulations," he said smoothly. "I live here too. Welcome to the estate." I shook his hand, impressed. A neighbor with such class. What a blessing. Thank you," I replied. He blended in quickly, laughing at jokes, complimenting the house, even helping sell drinks at one point. He was the kind of man who made everyone feel like they had known him for years, even though we had just met. But in the middle of the fun, a small drama happened. One of our guests, after overfeeding himself with jollof, left the guest toilet in a state no human should witness. My wife, flustered, wanted to save face. When the well-dressed man asked to use the bathroom, she quietly directed him to our private one. It was a small thing, an innocent decision. After all, was the harm? The party carried on. Drinks flowed. Laughter rolled. The compound was alive. My wife gave me that tired but proud smile women give when they know they've pulled off something grand. But somewhere in the corner, I caught Tony watching. He wasn't laughing with the others, wasn't dancing. He just sat, nursing his wife, eyes darting, first at me, then at the man who had used our private bathroom. When our eyes met, Tony raised his glass in slow salute, lips curled in that half smile of his. I waved back, not thinking much of it. After all, wasn't he my friend? Then, the Monday after the party, I was sweeping the compound when a familiar car slowed in front of the gate. The tinted window slid down, and there he was, the same well-dressed man from the party. His smile was as smooth as butter. "Morning, neighbor," he said warmly. "How's the family settling in?" "Fine, thank you," I replied, standing straighter than usual. Something about his presence made me want to appear respectable. He pointed out the generator humming by the fence. "Ah, I noticed your gen. Too loud. I can link you up with a man who installs soundproof casing. High quality estate standard." I smiled, half grateful, half surprised. "Thank you, sir." That evening he came again. This time he parked properly and stepped into the compound. He had a glossy catalog tugged under his arm. Solar panels, smart locks, CCTV camera. "Your home is your castle," he said, flipping through the pages. "On this estate, safety is key. I can get you upgrades, not the cheap ones though. Top standard." My wife, sitting by the doorway, kept her smile polite. but her eyes flickered towards me with a message only husbands know how. Be careful. I ignored it, flipping through the catalog with interest. Days turned into weeks, and the man became a regular face. Sometimes he came with small gifts, wine, fancy bulb, once, even a new set of curtains. He always had advice, always a suggestion. You know, he told me once, sipping juice in our parlor, I can connect you with an estate circle, men of influence, people you should know. It sounds harmless, even dangerous. Meanwhile, Tony hadn't changed his ways. At work, he still played the role of supportive friend. My brother, your story stood past Nollywood, from pepper water to estate wine. He'll clap me on the back and laugh as though we were both enjoying my success. One evening, after the neighbor left, my wife pulled me aside. Listen, she said firmly, that man is too free in this house. He was in our parlor today, moving around like he owned the place, always smiling, always suggesting. Don't you find it strange? I chuckled, waving it off. He's just being helpful. He's a neighbor. My wife sighed, shaking her head. Hmm. Neighbor, we know they stay for your own house, but always they inside our own. Something no balance, so. I laughed, but in my chest, something stirred. A thought I quickly buried. But sometimes it's easier to enjoy peace than to question shadows. It was a Saturday evening when he came again. The so-called neighbor, he brought a bottle of wine, this time smiling like always. We sat in the parlor, chatting casually. My wife served him small chops and juice. He leaned back comfortably on the sofa, as though this was his house, not ours. Then, casually, he said it. Your wife makes the best of one soup, he remarked, smacking his lips as if he has tasted it. The one you both ate on Wednesday night. Ah! The aroma filled the house. My wife froze. The tray in her hand nearly slipped. I frowned. How do you know what we ate on Wednesday? He chuckled lightly, waving his hand. Oh, what get around? Estates are small, you know. But he wasn't finished. And your children, he asked smoothly. They like to play with balloons in the parlor after school. Very lively kids. It's good. It keeps them home warm. This time my heart stopped because on Thursday evening I had just bought balloons for the kids. We played together until we fell asleep on the carpet. It was just us, no one else. My wife slowly sat down, eyes never leaving his face. And how exactly? She asked carefully. Does what about balloons get around too? He smiled, but it was different this time. Tighter, sharper. Ah, madam, don't stress me. I'm just observant, that's all. He sipped his juice as though nothing unusual had been said. But in the afternoon that followed, the only sound was the ticking clock on the wall. After he left, my wife locked the door behind him and turned to me. Her voice trembled, but her eyes were fierce. There are things in this house we don't know about. He knows too much, too much. I swallowed hard, replaying his word in my mind. The soup, the balloons, the small arguments we had on Tuesday night about school fees, that he hinted at his passing. Somehow, someway, this man had been inside our lives, deeper than we thought. That night, sleep abandoned us. My wife kept glancing at the corner of the ceiling, the sockets, even the clock, anywhere a tiny eye could hide. We are not safe here, she whispered. And for the first time, I didn't argue because deep down, I knew she was right. 2 days after that chilling conversation in our parlor, I was just past midnight. My wife and I were lying awake, staring at the ceiling, when her phone buzzed. An unknown number, she opened it and both our hearts froze. We know everything about you. Your children's school, your wife's market day, your late night prayers. We see it all. Don't try to remove the cameras. Don't play smart. A good message followed immediately. You have 1 week. Hand over the documents of the house quietly. If you make any move, if you speak to anyone, your family will regret it. My wife's hands trembled as she dropped the phone. Documents, she whispered. They want the house. I sat up, throat dry. This is not possible. How do we? Before I could finish, another message came in. This is not negotiation. This is instruction. Don't test us. The silence in that room was heavy enough to choke. My wife buried her face in her palms, her voice muffled. They know everything. Everything. We can't stay here. We can't risk the children. I wanted to argue, to calm her, but the truth was clear. This wasn't random. They weren't guessing. They were inside our lives. That night we made the decision. We would leave the house before the week was up, before those threats become reality. And that was how our dream home became a prison we could no longer sleep in. The next morning, we agreed we couldn't stay in that house, not another night. The children were still laughing and playing, unaware of the storm around them. My wife and I had already made up our minds. We would leave quietly, go to my uncle's place in the east, and stay there until we figured things out. We packed in silence, just clothes, important documents, and a little cash. My wife borrowed the children's school bag to see if we were sending them on a holiday. My hands shook as I carried boxes into the car, my eyes darting to every corner of the compound. That was when my white voice came, low but urgent. Don't look up quickly. Just listen. I froze. There is a man by the fence, pretending to fix something. He's been staring at us since we started packing. He's not one of the estate guards. Slowly I turned, pretending to stretch. There he was, lean, cap pulled low, eyes locked on us. The moment our eyes almost met, he bent down, fiddling with nothing in particular. My wife pulled out her phone, angling it casually as she adjusted the children's clothes. Click! She caught him on video. Then another quick snap. His car parked outside waiting. She didn't say a word until we were inside the car, pulling out of the compound. The children sang in the back seat, clueless, while my wife leaned close and whispered. He followed us. I saw him enter a grey Camry. I recorded it. My heart pounded. Driving east was no longer an option. If we went to my uncle's house, we would be leading them straight to family. I took a sharp turn at the next junction. We are not going east, I muttered. My wife frowned. Where then? A hotel. Somewhere they won't expect. We hide first, then think. That night, we squeezed into a modest hotel room. The children lay side by side on the bed, exhausted. My wife sat by the window, notebook in her hand. Every new car that enters this compound, she instructed, write it down. Plate number, color, time. If they're watching us, we'll watch them too. I signed, rubbing my temples. You want me to turn to Lasma official? She shot me a look. Better Lasma than obituary. Oh yeah, right. We both laughed softly, but it was laughter draped in fear. Meanwhile, I had already called Chike. He came by later that night, listening carefully to everything. His face grew darker with each detail. You should have told me earlier, he scolded. Do you know who your uncle is? A DSS director. You're running from danger when you have help already in your bloodline. He pulled out his phone immediately. Within an hour, two plainclothes DSS operatives checked into the hotel as guests. They didn't disturb us. They didn't speak much. They just watched. Watched the gates, watched the cars, watched every shadow that moved. For the first time in weeks, I felt something close to relief. The hunters had just become the hunted. By the next morning, the DSS had already run the place of the Grey Camry. The trail led them to a rundown office complex on the edge of town, a fake real estate agency with no registered papers. We've been watching these people, one of the operatives told me quietly in the hotel lobby. They scout new homeowners, install hidden surveillance, and then extort them for property documents. But your case gives us what we've never had before, real-time evidence. I nodded, still trying to wrap my head around the scale of it. My wife sat beside me, arms folded, eyes sharp as knives. Then the officers laid a photo on the table. My heart stopped. It was Tony, clear as daylight, shaking hands with one of the syndicate members at the very building DSS had traced. I stared at the picture, then at my wife. Her face went from shock to cold fury. Tony, she hissed. The same Tony that ate our food, played with our children. The officer nodded. He flagged your house to them. He gave them details long before the party. That's why the scouts moved so quickly. He even confirmed they had landed a big contract. I felt like the ground had disappeared beneath me. Memories flooding back. Tony's jokes, his wine at the party, his constant support. All the while, he was sharpening the knife behind my back. Why? I whispered. Money? Envy? It doesn't take much, the officer replied. But tonight he ends. The plan was simple. Act as though we had agreed to hand over the documents. The syndicate will send their men to collect. DSS will be waiting. That night, the hotel lobby was tense. My wife sat beside me, a fake file of house documents on my lap. Two DSS operatives sat at separate tables, disguised as regular guests. More waited outside. At exactly 9:15 p.m., the door opened. A man from the party walked in, crisp as ever, smiling that same neighborly smile. Good evening, he greeted smoothly. I trust you brought what we discussed. Another stiffly, holding up the file. His eyes gleamed. He motioned to a younger man by the door. We'll take it and confirm. But before his hand even closed the file, the DSS officer gave a slight nod. Now, plain-clothed operatives rose from every corner of the lobby. Guns out, voice firm. DSS! Nobody moves! The younger man tried to bolt for the door. A heavy hand pinned him to the ground. Another operative curbed the scout before he could react. The neighbor froze, still smiling faintly, but it was a weak smile now. Outside, headlights played as DSS tailed the grey Camry back to the fake real estate office. Within the hour, the entire syndicate were under arrest. Computers seized, fake deeds confiscated, hidden cameras recovered from our house. And Tony, they dragged him out too. Pale, sweating, eyes darting like a trapped rat. When our eyes met, he stammered. It wasn't personal. I turned away. Some betrayals don't deserve words. By dawn, the nightmare was over. The syndicate was in custody. Their network dismantled, piece by piece. We returned to our house days later. The compound was quiet again. The children ran around the garden laughing. My wife stood by the gate, arms folded, watching them with a small victorious smile. She turned to me and said, next time we celebrate, only take away packs. No stranger in the bathroom. For the first time in weeks, I laughed, a deep, grateful laugh. Our house was no longer a cage. It was a home again. The end. Some of the lessons we learn from this story are, not every friend is truly your friend. Hospitality without boundaries can invite danger. Vigilance saves lives. Envy is deadlier than poverty. I hope you guys enjoyed this wonderful masterpiece. Please do go ahead and click on the subscribe button to support us if you're new to this channel. Turn on the post notification so you'll be first to know when I drop a new story. Like this story and share this story to your loved ones. And I will see you in the next one, my loves. So then again, bye. Mwah.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please click on the subscribe button to support us. Turn on the post notification to get notified when I upload a new story. Like, share, and comment your thoughts. Till then, bye.